only just begun.
Okay, so thanks everyone, and thanks to Andrew for, I don't know where he's gone, he's vanished somewhere, but his seeing video in action for mobile is always really interesting. So quick intro from me. I'm Dan Wilson. I head up mobile and video for PubMatic in EMEA, and I'm delighted to be here today. The IAB Engage, I think, is just the premium event in the digital space in London, and I'm delighted to be on stage. It's an honour. But I'm equally delighted to be presenting the first of PubMatic's white papers today on the rise of premium mobile advertising. And this is something that we have gathered up from PubMatic data over the last couple of years, and we've had it independently analysed, and we spat some really interesting questions into the mix, and out from those questions came some really interesting answers. And what we have done is we've defined and then quantified the value of an enriched impression in mobile. But before I start on any of this, I realise that some of you in the audience won't be that familiar with PubMatic. So here's what we do. We're a global ad tech company. We do programmatic only across trillions of impressions a month on mobile, desktop, video, soon to be native with a great big roadmap set piece coming up. And through our acquisition of Motion Mobile, we have the ability to do mobile ad serving as well. And I spent many years working in mobile, and the ad serving piece is a undervalued bit of the entire ecosystem that makes it easier on the publisher side, but also makes it far easier as well on the demand side as well. So that's what we do. Just a snapshot of some of the publishers we work with. Some of them are in the audience today, or there were, one of them were here before, not now, but we're proud to partner with all of our publishers. But it's not just our publishers who rate us as the number one kind of SSP in this marketplace. Forrester did as well, and we have the Forrester report downstairs on the PubMatic stand with the Oculus Rift. Try the Rift, actually, it's very good. But the Forrester report is very good kind of train reading as well if you want to take that home with you. So, when we started this, we started to answer some questions, and we all know that mobile is ubiquitous. I'm not here to give you any stats on time spent in apps versus mobile web versus, the average 21-year-old has spent 10,000 hours using a mobile phone. We're not doing any of that. We all know it's ubiquitous. We all know it's here to stay. What we have done is we've answered two additional questions. One, what are publishers doing with their mobile inventory, and what can we do to help them drive it even further? But also we asked a question as to what the buy side is doing with this, and how can we help the buy side be smarter, more efficient, and more effective to deliver return on ad spend for their campaigns. Andrew was absolutely right to talk about changing behaviours using advertising to do that, and mobile is absolutely no different. So, but when we were doing this, we inadvertently answered another question as to what defines premium in mobile, because when we start to look at this, premium in the mobile world does not equal premium in the desktop world. It might be the same, same branded application or mobile website versus a desktop, but there are some very huge differences between what the buy side values from both of these. And when we looked at the numbers, we found something really interesting for this. So that on the desktop world, we see 20% bid and 5% win, and we see on mobile we see 9% bid and 4% win. So the win rates are almost effectively the same. But every time you bid an impression on the demand side, there's an OPEX cost attached to this. The mobile buyers are being smarter, they're being more efficient, they're being more effective on this, and ultimately they're going after the same audience. So it's kind of fascinating. But when we looked on this, we started to look at what the mobile side was actually bidding on, and we came up with the 5 elements that we think the market has defined as being making premium in mobile. The first is clearly application inventory. The second is the device IDs that we get for this. This is things like an IDFA or an Android ID that replace the cookie in mobile. For those of you not familiar with mobile, there are cookies are not the persistent ID that they are in the desktop space. Transparency comes down to the bids, but also it comes down to the App Store URL, the App Store name, the mobile website, etc. And then we start to look at the geo-enabled stuff. We've got IP address on this clearly, and we also have the GPS from the chip, and rich media. But what I'm going to talk about next is when we start to look at this and what the buy side are bidding on for this. I'm not going to talk about rich media, but I have got some really interesting stats there. And again, this is all based on PubMatic actual data that we've looked at over the last couple of years. And for the first time, we have not only defined an enriched impression, which we did in the last slide, but we've quantified it here as well. So the baseline here is a generic mobile website in the USA and their CPM ranges. When we start to layer in additional data for this, for the publisher, when we start to add on a location-based IP address, for example, for mobile web, the CPMs go up. If we make the change from mobile web to in-app, the CPMs go up even further. When we start to include actual GPS information from the chip, the CPMs go up even further. And when we layer this all together, then the end result, well, is phenomenal. And what we've seen from this isn't just a USA phenomenon. The absolute numbers in EMEA and APAC might be different to the USA, but the percentages that we see are broadly similar, which is, I think, absolutely fascinating. And when we add them up, the sum of the whole is far greater than the individual parts. So, what have we done with this? So we've helped clearly a lot of publishers monetize their impressions. We've helped the demand side as well execute campaigns on mobile. And we've got two case studies in the white paper for this. And the first is a publisher that we have worked with in the USA. I apologize for that. I don't have any EMEA case studies, but the results are broadly the same. And we took their inventory. We started to monetize that over the last couple of years, and then we started to move this further and started to enrich their data with them, with UDIDs, with IDFAs, and so on. And then we took the GPS data from their application as well. And overnight, we saw a binary increase in CPMs for this publisher from $1 to $1.36. And then we've taken it up further since then, but clearly not to the same rate of acceleration. But this is the value of what PubMatic brings to publishers, but also by giving the demand side more of what they're looking for, IDFAs and GPS, we've benefited everyone in the ecosystem. The second case study is a mobile web case study, because it's not all about the application. It's not all about having a brand have an application and ramming that down consumers' throats. Some publishers don't want applications, and that's fine. We can still monetize that. It's still got value, certainly in our opinion as well. So with this publisher, we started to use our insight and analytics on the bid data and the bid requests from what we've seen in the marketplace from the demand side, and we started to tweak the floor prices for them, and that had a big increase in the CPM. And we then started to work with them to move from them being a kind of blind publisher to one that was more transparent, passing the individual page URLs and so on, all the way through to the bid request and demand side. And collectively with this publisher, we saw a big increase in CPMs as well, 20% in this case. So this is just some of the things that we are doing as a publisher-focused organization to boost publisher effectiveness. But the flip side is, when we boost publisher effectiveness, we boost the effectiveness on the demand side as well, which is and I think is a true win-win, having worked in mobile for long enough. So I'm going to close now, but I'm going to close with this is the first of a series of white papers, all based on our data. And if you want to come and see us to talk about how you can buy or sell mobile much smarter, then we're downstairs. And if you do want to play on our Oculus Rift, I really, really recommend that as well. Seriously, it's seriously good fun. So thank you. I'll take any questions if you have any. Otherwise, just come and see us. Oh, sorry. Emmett.
Do you think the demand side has kept up in terms of looking for those extra data points?
Blimey. I think that's a great question. I think we've reacted to the demand side's request for all these data parameters. So we now pass 60 data parameters across the demand side, but mainly because we filtered the data so much that's what we think the demand side wants. If the demand side came to us and said, actually, we don't want a statistical ID, or we don't want an IDFA anymore, we want this, then we would work with our publisher base to go and get that for the demand side. So it's been chicken and egg, but I think the demand side on mobile has been far smarter over the last 18 months than the supply side. That's a personal opinion. It's changing.
Glad you think that's
Well, for now. Any more? Thank you.
We've only just begun.